our friends of Zimbabwe, our Trade Commissioner of the SADC, and members from our African Council. Thank you so much, Excellency, this evening as we celebrate the 43rd anniversary of the Independence Day celebrations of the Republic of Zimbabwe. It is indeed a great achievement for India and Zimbabwe today, because normally the national days are held in the capital, New Delhi, and for the first time this is happening in Bangalore. And Excellency, that also shows the importance of the state of Karnataka and the city of Bangalore, how it is playing a role in having something of this magnitude to be celebrated. We look forward to much more engagements with Zimbabwe. Political relations between India and Zimbabwe have a long history of close and cordial relations. During the era of Munmu-Hutapa Kingdom, Indian merchants established strong links with Zimbabwe, trading in textiles, minerals, and metals. During that time, the royal house of Zimbabwe, the Munmu-Hutapa, they journeyed to India in the 17th century, and they also had some influence because they studied in Goa. Even today, there is an inscribed pillar at the chapel in Goa, which is a tribute to the intellectual stature. India also supported Zimbabwe's freedom struggle. Former Prime Minister Indira Gandhi attended Zimbabwean independence celebrations in 1980 in Harare. There were frequent exchanges of high-level visits until 1996. The Honorable Vice President Venkaiah Naidu visited Zimbabwe. We had a pleasure of going to Zimbabwe with him with the delegation. This was the first ever visit by an Indian Vice President, and a high-level visit from India to Zimbabwe in the past 22 years. And in the last 1 year, we have seen a lot of engagement between India and Zimbabwe. When the First Lady, Excellency, when she came to India, and she was supposed to come to Bangalore, but somehow due to the COVID restrictions she could not make it. But that was a very important visit for us. Capacity building program assistance from India and Zimbabwe is happening, and there are ITEC scholarships and ICCR scholarships between India and Zimbabwe. Regular assistance and aid from Indian side is being given. In fact, the mission initiated a platform for Indian corporates in Zimbabwe to sponsor meritorious students. And the commercial relations between Zimbabwe started following the look east policy. So we have signed many joint agreements. We have signed a lot of cooperation agreements. In fact, now Zimbabwe and India are working on the lithium, which is very important for the EV and the energy needs. The MOU for cooperation in the field of arts, culture and heritage has been signed when the Honorable Vice President visited. And we have got a lot of Indian presence there. In fact, we will be pleased to know that there is a Deputy Minister of Trade who comes from Gujarat, who's of Indian origin, who's an NRI, and he is also something that we must be happy about, that we have an Indian as a part of the ministry in Zimbabwe. And the trade relations, the trade between India and Zimbabwe has been around 200 million. Indian companies have invested about 500 million in Zimbabwe so far. And there is also a wonderful conference that is going to happen in Zimbabwe sometime next month. And then there is a visit also happening, a high-level delegation visit that will happen in June at the Exim Bank Conclave. Similarly, we had the Speaker of Zimbabwe who visited just 2 months back, along with members of the parliament, and they had meetings with the President of India. So we are looking forward, Excellency, to seek your support and cooperation in strengthening these relations. And now that we have a Southern African Development Council's office that was inaugurated today, the ZITC, the Zimbabwe India Trade Council office, was inaugurated today by His Excellency. And I would like to wish our officers here to see how they can support the businesses that need to happen in Karnataka state. Once again, I welcome you, and I look forward, Excellency, and welcome you to Bangalore. Thank you.
It is my singular honor and privilege to welcome His Excellency Dr.Godfrey Majoni Chipare, Ambassador of the Republic of Zimbabwe at the National Day of Zimbabwe. I am delighted to address you all as we celebrate the 43rd anniversary of the country's independence under the theme Zimbabwe at 43, leaving no one and no place behind. This year's celebrations are historic and extraordinary in that they are the first in which the main commemorations are being held outside the capital city of Delhi and in the beautiful city of Bangalore. we in India are strengthening our unity, enhancing national cohesion, and enhancing peace within our country, brick by brick, stone upon stone, with the relation with Zimbabwe. These celebrations carry an added significance that it is the first time since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic that we are able to gather together at this scale in Bangalore. We thank Almighty God for the restoration, preservation, and protection of the great relations between our two sisterly nations. As the Trade Commissioner of the SADC in Karnataka, my aim and objective will be to strengthen these relations and support the bilateral trade mechanism between our countries. Once again, I warmly welcome to the Ambassador of Zimbabwe and the whole team from the Embassy of Zimbabwe to the beautiful city of Bangalore.
Apologies, I'm rather burdened, and I'll have to address you from the chair. It's quite fortunate that I'm here in India, so these are things that we are being taken care of. Let me first of all recognize the President of Zimbabwe India Trade Council, Dr.Godfrey Majoni Chipare, and the newly appointed Mr. Pravesh Kulbali, the SADC office kingpin here in Bangalore. Senior government officials here present, members of the diplomatic corps, esteemed members of the ZITC community. Of course, I don't want to forget my own team that I brought from New Delhi. Ladies and gentlemen, my dear friends, there are some familiar faces here, very dear to me as friends. It is indeed, I'll just have a conversation with you. When you take the floor after very articulate individuals who have maybe digressed into issues you wanted to say, you are left with only admiring or reiterating what you said. But let me express my own sentiments by saying in my hyphenated Hindi, Aaj main bahut khush hoon. When I listened to the strains of the Indian national anthem and the Zimbabwean national anthem being played together, you feel, yes, you are being embraced as a friend and as a brother. And thank you so much. Both Dhanyavad, in the local language you say Rombonand. Yes. Let me extend my gratitude to ZITC and its the membership. Your presence here really is emblematic of the efforts you are focusing on India-Zimbabwe relations, and is greatly appreciated. As we mark Zimbabwe's 40th anniversary of independence, it is important to look at the road that we have covered or traversed together. As earlier indicated, some of the senior officials in our own government were students here. When I was a deputy ambassador in Belgium, my ambassador was a very brilliant diplomat who had completed his tertiary education here in India, and he's still a very prominent figure. I think we have about 5 prominent Zimbabweans who had the honor to be educated here in India. As we speak today, there are about 2,000 students, suggesting that that chain of supply continues, and we hope this will be the bridge that will bring the two peoples together. Zimbabwe's independence would have been more protracted had it not been for the contributions, selfless contributions we enjoy from our Indian brothers and sisters. We cherish the financial, diplomatic and political support we received, and I, as a former freedom fighter, I witnessed some of these deliveries in the various capitals of the neighboring countries to Rhodesia them. So it's not fiction. Ladies and gentlemen, it is true that the relations between India and Zimbabwe are excellent. And if you look at our voting patterns at the UN, they speak to a convergence on many international issues. I'll not enumerate them, but I know I'm dealing with an erudite community now. Yes, the political relations are excellent, but let's admit that there's a lot of work to be done on the economic front. And I'm therefore grateful to the ZITC for coming up with very innovative ideas of enhancing economic links between India and Zimbabwe. On my part, I can assure you I'll deliver on my mandate to make sure that your efforts are a resounding success. And thank you for really all of you for coming. I'm sure on my part, Dr. Iqbal, in February, I facilitated your meeting with the Honorable Vice President of Zimbabwe, who was here on a private visit. But when I mentioned the good work that ZITC was doing for Zimbabwe, he took time off his very crowded schedule to welcome you, and I thank you very much for that. These are relations that will further enhance, and as indicated, the people-to-people links also are an area that we need to improve on. We have very positive givens. 10,000 Zimbabweans are of Indian extraction, 9,000 from Gujarati, to such an extent that even your ambassador, the ambassador of Zimbabwe, is also an adopted son of the village of Rajpipla in Gujarat. So I go there once in a while for my pujas. So we want to build on that. And I would appeal to Dr. Asif Iqbal and Mr. Pravish Kulbari to work on that area. It's a low-hanging fruit. I would like to say, what are the institutional instruments that I think are urgent? And I know ZITC has viable links with the Minister of External Affairs. I'd appeal through you, sir, and together we should appeal to our respective jurisdictions to expedite the signing of the bilateral investment treaty. The drafts have been exchanged, and that would offer comfort to business investors, to Indian business investors wishing to consider Zimbabwe as a viable investment destination. It offers comfort, it offers security. And I would like to conclude my remarks with just a few remarks about Zimbabwe itself, where we stand now. As we mark our 43rd anniversary of independence, we are a very proud people. We are geared towards achieving our goals envisaged in the Vision 2030. That is Zimbabwe to be a middle income economy by the year 2030. It's a tall task, but the figures are good. But with your kind support, I think the goal is achievable. And I want to thank you so much for coming here. And I hope to receive a few people in New Delhi. And since it's my first time to be in Bangalore, I think this is an indication that Bangalore will become my favorite destination. I thank you for having me here, and surely I thank you for coming to celebrate with me the 43rd anniversary of Zimbabwe's independence. बहुत धन्यवाद. Robonado.
So on this occasion, here we are, raising the toast for the good health,
the lovely, the Excellency,
the President
of
of both
Zimbabwe
countries.
and the President of India. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We have a tourism video. Can we play the
It's our pristine wildlife and nature, still so wild and untamed. From the rolling mystical mountains and dense forests of the Eastern Highlands, down to the breathtaking beauty of the lowveld and the vast floodplains of the Zambezi Valley, across to the balancing rocks of the Matopos. Animals still wild and roaming free.
Thank you so much for joining us in these celebrations, and indeed, this is a moment to celebrate together and to commemorate this important occasion. Definitely, you're most welcome to join us over dinner, and apart from this, you can join to
Hi, this is Varghese. I'm the Assistant Trade Commissioner for SADC, Southern African Development Community. Today we are here at the Lalita Show Hotel in Bangalore. We're celebrating the 43rd National Day of the beautiful Republic of Zimbabwe. Today we have our Honorable Ambassador, Dr. Godfrey, who has joined us all the way from New Delhi. We've had a wonderful evening of dialogues and interactions where we have discussed about the bilateral engagements between India and Zimbabwe, and we look forward to having a lot more interactions with the business community, and we are looking forward to having the business communities from India visiting Zimbabwe next month for the national conference happening there. Thank you.